I know it's been ages since I've done an update, but that's because I've been busy working on this. What is it? Well, why don't you come and see? So last time you were here, we had completed the church roof by repainting it into slate, even though you can't see the church in the shot, I've just realised, pointing at it in that direction. The scenery was done, and it was basically a case of moving on to doing the man-made structures before finishing off the scenery, in particular over here, and then it's just adding grasses, etc. So, first man-made structure I've decided to do is the cattle market in the corner, because the whole point of Dinrhyd town is that, well, once upon a time it was a hill fort town, Dinrhyd. There's a hill fort next to a river crossing. That's what it should mean anyway. But eventually becomes a market town for cattle. So sheep, cows, pigs all come in here, all leave here. So it's quite busy. It's a very small siding. It makes it very hard work for the shunting engines. So I wanted that, but also I needed a goods shed. Now, because the track plan changed a bit, goods shed was always going to be over here, but it's not going to be that over there. It's going to be over here. This is a goods shed. It was inspired by a model I saw in the background of a Pendon museum video. Just watching one of them, I spied this building. I thought, I like the look of that. I think I could build something like that. And so therefore, I've decided to not only copy it, but try and build it in Pendon style as well. So here we are. This is a model created from balsa wood and cardboard, mostly. A little bit of plastic in there. The same with the cattle market. I've just taken inspiration for the buildings at Welshpool look like, trying to have that Welsh influence with the slate walls, and mostly, again, cardboard, bit of plastic. But there's only one way you're really going to see how I made it. I'm going to have to show you. So let's go back a fair few weeks to when I started making Dinrhyd Cattle Market and the it's Snowdon Railway goods shed. I've started work on the cattle dock. As you can see here, it's currently a card construction, just a base, just mound board card, just cut into shape. And then I've started to add some slate stonework to this. I think I may have gone mad. It probably would have been better just used to that stuff, but I thought, I'll cut some card and glue it on like brick. But it's only on there, so we'll just see how it goes. If it takes too long, it's too tedious, then I probably won't do it for the rest of the project. But I'm going to try these things, haven't you? So let's talk you through the cattle dock. The idea is then that we'll have the docks here, and then the entrance to the cattle market here, and then over here this will be a ramp, and this will take us down to the other siding here. So any other general goods that needs unloading, vans and the coal trucks, I'll probably have a couple of the coal bins here for the local coal merchant. That will be modelled around there. And then with the space I've left, I'll then model another hill here so it looks more natural and like it's sloping back down, and sort of blend it all in. So that is the plan. And as I say, as it goes at the moment, I have the very tedious job of putting on this brickwork. So to talk you through how I'm doing the brickwork, I just take some thin card, cut it into strips, and then cut the strips down into little blocks, and then shape the blocks with a pair of scissors. Once they're all shaped up, I'll then glue them into place along the wall and try and get a slate effect there. A little bit blurred, but that's the idea. So yeah, I'm going to carry on with that. I'm not going to film it because that's going to be really tedious. I mean, it's going to be tedious enough for me to do, so you to watch, I'm sure will be very dull. So I'll come back when I've done it. Right, from this angle, it's a bit difficult to see, but I have got the stonework on, and I've added the ramp. And as you can see, I think that's come out. Move that van out of the way. There we go. That came out all right. What I found the easiest way in the end was to cut the strips, but sort of just cut them with a knife without a ruler, so they sort of just went a bit wobbly, and then just cut them at random sizes, and then just sort of like a puzzle, just glue them into place. and yeah, it's gone off quite well. The ramp then, that's just been added on, and then I just put a little bit of decorator's cork just to fill the gap there. And then there's stonework on the side here because I'm not quite sure where the rest of the world will be once I put this board on. So I thought I'd best do the stonework all the way up to the end. Next job, I think I need to add some slabs to the edges, and I've got an idea of how I want to do it, but I'm going to experiment before I say this is how to do it, because it might not work. So when I come back, I'll have some slabs. I'll tell you how I did it. Okay, so now I can reveal to you my idea. And that was just to use sticky labels, cut into 1 centimeter squares, and then a little 3mm lip, just to go around the edge. See that one's peeled back. I've just pushed that down again. But yeah, that was just sort of the idea. Just make some paving slabs around the edge with the. So they're all cut out individually. They've all got the little bumps. So hopefully when the paint goes on it, that'll be noticeable, and sort of give that bossed edged effect. So yeah, so far I think that's come out all right. When I paint it, well, that's the tail really. But I've just done it all the way around the edge. As I say, this side I'm not sure where things end. I've done it all the way over here, but I'm going to have a road join up with this at some point. But I thought the rest of it would probably be paving slab anyway. But yeah, that's. I think that's pretty much the platform done. I think I need to add the pens and then build the market on the back and then the hill. So this has actually gone a bit quicker than I expected. Okay, so the platform for the cattle dock area is built. It's on the layout. I'll give it a prime as well. I can show you that in a little bit. In fact, I'll probably just paint it up and show you it then. So the general shape of it is obviously that it's a nice rectangle with a little ramp. So what I want to do is put on the cattle market in the background. But I want to try and avoid that look of when something is low relief, it kind of just ends at the horizon or the back seat. So I want to kind of disguise it so it looks like it's going a bit further. So I've sort of had a bit of think how I can do this. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to build a office stroke store around here, and either have it wood or and I think I will go with wood, otherwise everything's going to be too slate. So yeah, probably a wooden structure here, and then we'll have the entrance to the cattle market around here, and this will be the most low relief part of it all, going right up to the edges there. And I will do them as slate walls, and then on the top, if I can find it, I've got this, which comes from a Pico oval roof kit. So you can buy the kits and build 2 oval roofs, or you can do it as one single structure. I had this kit a very long time. God knows how many years. I've lived here, 9 years, and I bought it well before we moved here, so this is probably over 10 years old. It's just been floating around in the box as a spare, but I thought that'd be quite good as the oval roof to go over the entrance to the cattle market, and that can go across here like so, and then I can do a corrugated roof. The office then can be just about the right height, so it disguises or minimises how much it's obvious that this just literally ends at the back scene here. So I have sort of a pitched roof to kind of try and hide that. And then over here, this is where the slope is going to be, going up to the main road, and so I just need a bit of road coming down here. So this can all be hill, and then I thought, well, if I have a nice tree here, then it's not going to be too obvious that the cattle market's disappeared there. So that's kind of what I'm thinking of in terms of the layout on the platform. If I just quickly roughly draw a 3D sort of idea, you can then see what I'm sort of getting at. So that'd be like that. So the hill here, so kind of looking at this angle. Very nice tree here, blending that in. I'm thinking full size, well no, maybe something like that. Doors here, so the cows go in. This is sort of wooden again. Stone pillars there. Then we come across here, and we can have an office and a store. Something like maybe a bit higher, something like that. It's an, again, wooden structure. I kind of got the influence because I just watched a video in Pendon and saw a building in the background, and I was like, that would be quite cool to model something like that. So yeah, there we are. Something like that there, all in there. The edge of the pen there. The rails, obviously for the sidings there, appallingly drawn, I appreciate that. And then obviously we'll have to have the pens, so the cattle can be held like so, something like that. It's not the most detailed picture in the world, I appreciate, but we'll be here a long time if I start putting a lot of effort into my drawing. So, but to give you a rough idea, I think that is how, I'll turn it round so it's all at an angle. Let's give that a little bit of a roof. There you go. That's kind of how I want the cattle market to look like, and I think that will fit in quite nicely. So I'm going to do my usual construction method. I'm going to take some thick mount board, and you can see I've already started cutting pieces, build the main structure, and it will probably be plastic card clad. So let's get on with it. Here's the basic structure then, all cut out for what I want to do. So I've just roughly drawn in place where everything's going to go. So nice big shed doors to allow the cows to go through. And over here, this is more where the store is. So sort of worked out where everything's going to go within the building. We've got a set of double doors here to get into the lower storage. This door is to get into the office upstairs and to the top floor. So the set of stairs are going to go this way. I did want them to go that way, but that would mean that when you come around here, I wouldn't be able to have a hatch up here, whether you've got the winch and you can just pull sacks and store them up in the attic, so to speak, as you see in a lot of sort of warehouses. I'm not sure what the technical term for the door is, but the door to nowhere, I suppose. But yeah, that's there, and then there's another door to get in the side for access there. So that's basically the rough shape of it. I'm going to cut out the holes for the doors. Then I need to make the roof as well, I suppose. But yeah, otherwise, once they're all cut out, I'll start gluing these bits together and then sort of cladding it. This one with wood, these bits with stone. That'll be wood going across there. I'll make the doors that go there as well. So yeah, it's coming together. Windows and doors are cut out, and I've just glued parts together, and then I've decided to make the roof with cards. I just used that Pico bit as a template in the end. So it's a double structure. I'm going to clad over the top of it, and then I've just got the cows there. I was going to model with the doors shut, but I kind of like the cows coming out, so maybe I might have like a farmer or something sort of herding the cattle away, and then because inside you can only see really that view. So if I model it right, I could probably just paint a background so it looks like it goes further, which would help to the illusion that it's deeper than it actually is. So yeah, I'm thinking of doing something like that. And yeah, there's the store all in place. I think that works quite well, considering where the hoist lift door to nowhere is going to be in relation to the ramp and the bay. Like this mail van could just be parked up here, they can unload it and immediately load everything upstairs. So I haven't got a covered warehouse or goods shed, but at least I've got some form of storage for stuff that has come on the railway that isn't cattle market related, I suppose. But yeah, that's it so far, I think. And now I need to work a bit more on the structure of the storage. I'm going to put a floor in upstairs. Because again, I quite like the idea of modelling this with the doors open. And is it kind of Pendon inspired building? As I spotted one on Pendon, I thought I can make something like that. I probably should make an effort to make it a bit more Pendon looking, I suppose, with detail inside. As you can see then, I've progressed with the store, and I found some balsa wood, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to do some timber framing inside. So as you can see, I've done the roof trusses, bit of framing in there, and then I've done the same in the bottom, which I think is going to look pretty good. The model with the doors open, so you will be able to see inside. I'll probably put a little light, probably just hide it here, because it's the best place where you're not going to see it, but just a very small light just to light up that interior. Maybe the same inside, but again, some people probably say you sort of wasted your time doing that. But I mean, if you get the camera angle right, and depending where you are looking at the layout, you are going to be able to see through that doorway, and you are going to be able to see those roof trusses in there. I think that's going to look pretty good. So yeah, I'm quite pleased with it. And I've added an extra window here because I've decided to move the office, because I was going to have the office here, but if you look where the stairwell is, I've cut that out, built some stairs. They're all made of card. Just drawn the dimensions out using a scale ruler and measured the stairs in my house just to try and get the measurements right. That takes it up to there. That was a nice simple build actually. I think I'm getting used to making my own stairs. And so yeah, so there's no room for an office here. The office is going to go over here. I need to start putting the interior detail in really, especially now I put the trusses on, because that's going to be quite difficult to model and work with now they're in the way. I didn't think that bit through. Underneath, I think this will be a big store here. I did consider a stable. I think it might be an area might be a bit too big for a stable, and also the cattle market's just here, and no reason why one of the horses couldn't be stabled in there. I think that's what I'm going to do. I don't think I'll have the horse in here. I think I'll just like barrels and stuff. Probably be stored in there. Got the grain upstairs. This can be the door to the privy, and we'll just add a wall in here, and that's where the toilet is. And yeah, that's the plan for this so far. I think it's looking pretty good. I'm quite pleased with it. And yeah, as I say, I'm going to start working on the interior, and then I can move on to the exterior, which is basically just cladding it really. It's looking a little different then, isn't it? As you can see, I've added the interior. So the floor is just some thin card, and I've scored it to mark out the floorboards. The only way I could get it in was I actually had to remove these posts and roof trusses just to get in there and work in there. Oh, it was a bit premature gluing them in, but no harm done. The same with the walls, thin card, all scored and marked, painted, and then there's various details added inside. So if we'll take you over here, this is the office. There's a cabinet there. I think I was going to decide that's sort of like the tea point, but you can't really see it, so I decided not to do any more detailing on that because it wasn't worth it. We've got a little bench for people to just have a sit down and a rest. There's the foreman's desk, in charge of the stores, look at some paperwork. Annoyingly, I glued him in and I didn't realise he's like a HO scale figure, because I tried to put another chap in and they dwarfed this guy. So he has to be here all on his own to not give away the fact that he's a little bit too small. At the back there, we've got a furnace, keep it nice and warm in the winter. And then here, you can't really see it. I can't get it at the right angle, but it's just a cabinet. I actually made this out of a TT gauge line side cabinet. Just took the top off and put a flat bit of card, and I think that looks all right. So that's the office, and then here's the actual stores upstairs. So we've got the stairs themselves. Let's make them out there, and then these are various. I think like this big larger box came from an old Airfix station platform accessories kit, and then these other bits are Pico, if I recall. So they're all just painted up, giving a bit of tone, just so they don't look a bit too plasticky. And then I've put a chap in here carrying a box, doing a bit of work in there already. And as you can see, depending on the angle, you can see the roof trusses through the open door. Talking of doors, here's the door to the privy. So I've just installed one there. That one won't be open. The door to get upstairs is open, and behind it is another door. You can just about make it out, so you can get into the privy that way or that way, or maybe that'll just be a store code. I haven't decided, but I did feel that maybe the foreman doesn't really want to walk outside in that Welsh rain to go all around here to the toilet. You could just go through this door here, but there's a door there. Where it goes, nobody knows. That's the rest of the interior. I think I've already covered that. It all needs painting up, and then the same as what I've done with the walls up here. Just add some cards, sort of like planks. And then in addition to that, I've done a few more doors. So these are the doors for the stores. Sounds like something from Shooting Stars, doesn't it? There we go. They'll go there. And then we can look inside, and I'll probably have some barrels and that in there. And this is probably where the brewery uses the railway store to move its barrels to and from the town. So that's that so far. I think next job is the exterior cladding. Then I can attach these doors. I can attach this window. I'm sorry, the camera's gone out of focus. I don't know if anyone else has noticed this. iPhones have got this real habit at the moment of going out of focus and then they won't refocus. If you've watched any of my exhibition videos, you might notice it. You're filming a train and it suddenly goes blurry, and I have to get the camera to try and focus again. I'm assuming it's a software issue because I've heard other people complain about this rather than it just being my phone. But hopefully they can fix that because it's rather annoying. And as I say, I think I'm going to do the exterior cladding and then concentrate on windows and doors. I will have to put a roof on it at some point, but I want to put a light in there. So I'll probably feed the light in this corner here. But mind you can see the wire through that window. I have to think about that. We'll see. From where I left it last then, we have a coating of paint on the exterior woodwork. It's just a Humbrol Gloss number 47. And I've done this wall here because when it goes on the layout against the back seam. But you know what? I thought let's plan against the future, just in case the layout changes for whatever reason, and this needs to be moved. I don't want that to be blank and then decide it's going to go there, and I have to make the side and try and match it up because I know what happened. I will never be able to match that up to that once this is complete. So I've done that for future proofing. So where do I stand? Well, I need the windows. The doorway for up here, I need a pulley so the lads can pull the boxes up and down. And we need to put the frames around these doors, put these doors in, interior cladding, and then some lighting and a roof. So almost there. And obviously I need to weather it. Progress a little bit further then, and here we are. We've got doors in place, so the store doors are now there. Windows. Now, originally I made the window and used microstrip. I didn't like the bars; it was too thick. I managed to find this spare kit window. I think it's from an N-Gage kit, to be honest. But I've just stuck some glue and glaze in there, so you can't really see through, but it will let the light through. But it doesn't matter. That means you can't see the wires for the lighting, which I've also installed. Hidden in that corner there. You can't really see them through the window there, and it's not easy to see through there. And as you can see, I've added the doors on here, so they're opened up, and then we've got a winch at the top, and that is made with bits of the Daypole dockside crane. So for many projects, I've been slowly taking pieces off that kit. They're really handy. Like, just buy kits like that and then just keep them in your scrap box, and they have so many little handy parts for scratch building. They're great. So that's been made with that. And that's it, really. It's just a case of adding the roof and weathering it now. So that's what I'm going to do. Well, here we are then. Almost complete. I need to add some guttering and downpipes and I think a fascia board here just to finish things off. This obviously is far too clean. Needs a bit of weathering. But as you can see, I've added the roof. The roof is just made up of the thick mount card, two boards or sections cut out, put across there. The unevenness of the balsa wood and my poor truss making makes a nice, uneven, bumpy roof, which looks great, I think. So that's worked out splendidly. And then the tiles is just made up from very thin card, cut into strips, and then marked out for the tiles using my usual method of using the compass. using the nib of that just to score the card. And then I've just gone over it. Base coat of Humbrol 127, and then top coats of a mixture of blue and green stone from Life Colour. Now I think that roof's come out pretty well. So that's all there. And then the other thing I've done is I've put painted a sign on. So I was going to put like a wooden sign, I had made one. You can see here, which I quite like, but I don't know, just felt it wasn't quite right. I thought it'd be better just to paint on the wall. So there you are. It's MSR, Mid Snowdon Railway, Dinrhyd Goods Depot. To make sure that I got this all perfect and not screwed up, making it look like a sign right, I put it there. Wrote it on the computer, printed it out. I can't remember what font I used, but as you can see, it's a fancy squiggly font, in cursive. And on the back, just took a 6B pencil, scrubbed all over it, and then I took my mechanical pencil, because that's got a nice sharp point, and just drew back over the writing once it was in place on top of here. And then once that was scored on, I took a paint pen. I cleaned the nib up. I made sure the nib was absolutely spotless. So in wet cotton bud, just cleaned off all the excess dried up paint, etc. And it flowed beautifully out of it. And that allowed me to put the sign on as if a sign writer just painted it onto the side of the building, which I think looks a lot better than my little sign. I might put that on the back just to add a little something to it, because there's nothing here. And I thought I might just put a little frame around it and just put it up there, maybe. Maybe, we'll see. Or maybe it could go at the top of the road. I feel like using it, because, definitely did a bad job there. But that one was all copied handwriting as well. I didn't use that method of going over with the pencil. I actually just copied it from the screen. Don't think it's too bad, but there we go. I think that looks a lot better, a lot tidier, and a lot neater. So, yep, that's that. As I say, then it's just a case of putting downpipes, guttering, and fascia boards on, a little bit of weathering, and the store is complete. And here is the completed store, or goods depot. There we are. I've gone back over the writing there. And yeah, I think the last time I showed you it was just the white, and I've just gone with the black pen just to give it a bit of shadow, which I think makes it stand out a bit more. I've added those barge boards or fascia boards, whatever you want to call them, on the ends, and then the whole thing has been weathered. Just a neutral grey wash, just very sort of gingerly applied, a bit thinner just to move it around. And I think that's just subtle enough. There's a few little bits I've just done with some weathering pencils on the wood, chipping effect. I'm still not convinced about the weathering pencils. I've seen people use them online. I think they've got good effects. I can't quite seem to get them to work as well. You see, I've tried to do it on the doors there, sort of where they've rubbed together and the paint's worn away. But anyway, that's that. That is that done, completed, all in place. So the next bit is to do the cattle market to the side. A few sidings is going to have to be changed, because as you can see, the roof sits on the guttering there. So I just need to adjust the size of the cattle market, because it's overhanging a little bit too. But that's not the end of the world. So I'm going to get onto that. As if by magic, the cattle market is complete. And what's happened here is I actually forgot to film any of it, if I'm honest. I thought I did, and then when I put this video together, realised hadn't quite worked out. So let me talk you through it. Through the background there, you can see my attempt at, I've drawn it in pencil, and then I've just used a bit of varnish just to seal it in. And that's obviously to create the illusion that we are looking through the cattle market at all the pens that hold the cattle inside. The pens at the front there, they are made of West Hill Wagonworks 3D printed fencing, cut to shape, and then I've added some gates. Now these were made with brass rod and microstrip. They were absolute pain to make. They took forever. I had to make 8 of them, but they look pretty good. So they just need a coat of paint, and then that should be all well and dandy. And then the other thing I've done is, you can just see there, it says Dinrhyd Cattle Market. I just found a very old ruler stencil and managed to just about paint that on there. Right, here we are then. I've added the fencing for the cattle pens. So all painted. I say added. I haven't glued anything down. I'm having second thoughts about that floor. I might make it cobblestone. That might be quite cool. And I'm going to have to research it. So for now, the buildings are just in place. Nothing's glued down. I still need to make a hole to thread the wire through here. And I'm going to be putting little bits of detail in here. Mostly barrels. I want some barrels. And I want a horse and cart out the front. But for now, this will do. So I'm quite pleased with it. It's turned out pretty well. Well, I hope you've enjoyed watching me build this. I certainly did enjoy it, even though it's taken a bit of time. But there's something very satisfying with scratch building, making your own creations. You know, I know that this is unique. This is the only one in the world. So if you have liked it, please click the like button. If you want to see more building like this, because I'm going to have to do it for the town scene, so it's going to be a little bit more. Maybe you won't like it, and then maybe you can go away. Don't go away. Come back. Click the subscribe button. I'll appreciate it. I've hit 5,000, so thank you very much, everybody. That's quite the milestone, and we're catching up with Joseph at that point, aren't we, guys? So Joseph, I'm coming for you. Yeah, and then I don't think I'll catch up with Charlie. Thanks for watching. That's what I can say.
That's not all, folks.